Hello, everyone. So in this video, we're going to continue with module number 2. So you should have up your profile 1 iteration, and we should have our profile view here, which I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on right here. So your profile view should have a couple of light blue lines, as we can see from a distance here. But that's what we should have so far. So I'll pull up the instructions, and we should have page 9 of your instructions up here. You're also going to need your vertical alignment document for a part of this, so make sure that's handy as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue right on here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to save this iteration. It's called profile 1, but this one we're going to save, and we're going to continue it by calling it profile number 2. So it'll be last name dot first name dot profile 2. I'm just going to save it as that. There we have it. And then we are going to go to have your home tab up here, and on the ribbon, go to create design, profile, and you're going to bring up your profile creation tools. It's going to ask you to select the profile. You're just going to highlight your profile and select that, and a little window will come up. And we're going to change some of the things in here. So we're just going to make sure the name, we're going to change this name here, and it's just going to be called design profile. And here we have to make sure that the profile style is set for design profile, and it is. And our profile label set is set for complete label set. We're good here. We're going to hit OK. And it brings up our profile layout tools in the top left here. Continuing on, you're going to go down the first arrow here. You're going to click this, and you're going to choose curve settings right here. That'll bring up a window. OK, here we have to set some of our vertical curve settings now. Now you can see we have the length set in, so we have to set in our K value. Now, when I go back to the diagram, you're going to see that we're going to actually have 3 different vertical curves on this profile. We're going to have one big SAG curve, and then 2 little one crest curve, and then 2 smaller SAG curves. And I'll show you that when we get back to the diagram in full here. So what we have to figure out is we have to figure out what the proper K value is for the crest curve. So what we're going to do is, if I go back to the beginning of the document, we are doing a UAU 80 road. Okay, I'll go back to the page that we were on. If you go to page 8 of your vertical alignment document, you're going to see that for a design speed of 80 for crest curves, look there, you should have the K value should be 35 here. So we're going to change that. We're going to go to crest curves here. We're going to click, and we're going to change this to 35. Oops, like that. And for SAG curves, now we don't know what kind of SAG curve this is. We don't know the conditions, whether we're going to use a headlight table or the comfort table. So we're going to err on the side of safety, and we're going to use the headlight one. So this is what we're going to do. For an 80 km/h design speed, the minimum K value is 30. Now, we're not going to put in 30 right now. The instructions on the on module 2 instructions, it says we'll set it for a temporary value of 5. But if I go back here, we're just going to remember that that's 30. We're going to eventually change it later to 30. So for right now, we're going to change the K value to 5, like that. Let's go back to the instructions here, and then we're going to hit OK. Okay, now we're going to go back to our profile layout tools here, and now we're going to click again the little arrow to the right here, and we're going to draw the tangent with curves. Okay, so now we're going to basically click on our points, where our points of vertical points of intersection are going to be. So there's going to be 5 of them that we're going to touch here, and they're labeled here. So we got to do one at the start. Now, if you notice here, the start is going to depend on your student number. Everybody's student number had a different starting station value. Given the station values that I have, mine is 21,000, but yours is different. Then there's going to be one for me at 21,180. Again, remember the second digit is B from your student number. One's going to be at the top of the plateau. One's going to be at 2B700 and one at the very end. So what we're going to do, I'm going to come back here. First of all, on your O-snaps, make sure that you have endpoints checked off, because that's going to help here. So we're going to it looks like it's all set for me. I'm going to zoom in here to the starting point. There we go, right there. That's an endpoint. So I'm just going to click that. That's going to be the starting point, and we're going to draw our tangents here. The next one for me was 2180. So what you're going to do is you're going to find 2180. You can see it at the bottom there. But then I'm just going to click just above, somewhere just roughly above the the red lines there, the line of the surface there, they're above the red line. So I'm going to click there. There we go. I'm going to scroll over a little bit. Now we're going to go to the top of the crest. Now we just roughly want to be somewhere about halfway, like to bisect this crest, halfway. Doesn't matter exactly where. I'll go about right here. Click there. So you're just above the red line. Then it wants, I'm going to go to 21,700 as per the instructions. And I'm just going to click right above the surface there. And then the fifth one and the final one will be at the endpoint. So I'm going to zoom in, make sure I get this accurate to the endpoint. And it should say endpoint like that. I click there, and then I hit enter. Now, if we zoom back, we're going to see, we see our tangents. And if you go back to the crest here, you can see there's our curve there. Our parabolic curve has been drawn in. And then we have all the labeling with our station values and our elevations for the beginning and the end of all our vertical curves. So you can see the big crest curve here in the middle that's drawn. But if you go to the left, there's a tiny sag curve here, okay? And on the other side of the drawing, there's another tiny sag curve right here, right in the middle there, okay? So, and there we have it. So now, but this is not the end of the story here. So let's go back to the instructions. These instructions here at the top of page 12 just tell you how to open these profile layout tools in case that you close them and you need them again. So that's all these instructions say here. So then we're going to open our grid view, which is like a little panoramic view. So in the profile layout tools, there's this little one that's the third from the right. It's in Civil 3D 2023. It's this little green circle here. So we're going to hit that. Opens up this panoramic view, and it gives us all our PVI stations, the elevations, the grade ins and outs, the K values, the curve radiuses, everything's all set there, right? Okay, so now what we have to do is there's a bit of first criteria here. Now, the first thing is we have to make sure we have to basically control all these numbers by changing some things in the diagram here. None of your grade ins and outs can be above 5%. So it can't be bigger than plus 5% grade or lower than negative 5% grades. Okay, so we're going to keep a value of that. See, there's our K values that we inputted in. We're eventually going to change these 5 K values to 30, but we're going to hold tight there for a second. So what we're going to change, we have to change the elevation of our and our grade of our starting point and of our ending point. Now that is the numbers for that are on the last page of the Module 2 instructions. So you can see right here, all right? So I'm going to change the beginning station to have a certain elevation, and you can see that's based off your student number. I use a generic one, and also our longitudinal grade is going to be changed as well based on your student number. I have those numbers written down in front of me. And then at the end station, it's going to be similar. So everybody's going to have a different one. Don't put in the numbers that I put in. Use your student number because you're going to be assessed on this when the module is marked. So what this means is based on this data here, I'm going to go to the PVI station here, the first one, and change the elevation. See how it says for me 219,429? Well, I'm going to change that to, for me, it is 220.316. Okay. And there's that. The grade for me is 0.517. Let's make sure we got that right. 517. Now it's rounded to 5.2. We'll check that that's correct afterwards. And then the last station we have to change here, the elevation and the grade in. So this one here, I'm going to change to, for me, don't put in these exact numbers. Remember, you got to use your student number or you won't get the marks for it. For me, it's that. And my grade in is going to be negative. Remember, it's like the second grade here is going to be a negative grade. It's 865. It's going to round it to 87. But there we go. We have that. Now, I can check that this is correct. So I'm going to close this momentarily. So if we go to the beginning of the profile view here, there is the station. There's the elevation that I typed in, 220.316. And there's the proper grade. And then if I go to the end of the diagram right here, now it has a little bit of a warning bubble. Don't worry about if you get a little warning triangle here. We're just putting stuff that aren't fully within the default parameters. There's the grade that I put in for the end, and the elevation should match here the number that I typed in. So that looks good right there. Okay, so now that's not the end of the story. So For our rail line to go perfectly here, our curve has to go through this little corridor here. So we're going to have to pull our curve line, our blue line here, to go through this little corridor here. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to click on the curve itself. Now you can see it adds some grips. Now everywhere that there's a PVI, there's 3 triangular grips here. You can see them here. So for the crest curve, it's here. If I zoom out, for the sag curve, if I zoom in here, you can see those 3 triangles. That's how you move the PVI up and down or left and right, okay? So, and then again, when I go to the far right over here, there are the 3 triangular ones. Now, those are the things that you might have to adjust. Now, everybody's going to have a different looking curve, so I can't give a like one instruction that fits everyone. But the first thing that we're going to do, and I'll show you, you might have to play around with those grips to get all the numbers to match. That's about as best I can say. So now the first thing you're going to have to use is you have to make sure that your curve goes through this little corridor here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the middle triangle here. I'll zoom in a little bit. The middle triangle, I'm going to click that, and I'm going to drag it. You can see my curve is being dragged upwards. And I'm going to keep dragging upwards until it is clearly in that corridor. I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit. That looks good to me. So I'm just going to click there. And there you go. It's moved the curve there. If I hit escape now, oops, let's get out of this. Sorry, my computer's frozen a little bit. There we go. Looks good to me. So we're going to bring up that grid view again by clicking this little red circle, green circle up here. You have to make sure that none of your grades are, the grades are within -5% to 5%. You can't go outside of those. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have to, I'm going to change those K values for these 2 sag curves. Instead of 5, I'm going to change them to 30. Now, if you get an error message when this happens, you're going to have to play with your PVI stations so that it's going to all fit a little bit. But I'm going to put it, looks like it worked. If there was no error message that came out, it's fine. And then the 5, I'm going to change to 30. And that's great. It looks like I was able to change the K values of those curves without affecting any of the parameters. So this is what you want out of all this. These basically, your K values have to say at the end of the day 30, 35, and 30. Your PVI elevation for the first station has to be based off your student number, and the grade has to be based off your student number. The last one, the PVI elevation, has to be based off your student number, and the grade in has to be based off your student number. If you had no error message that's come up, then you're good to go here. So now, if for some reason it's not working, you're going to have to move those PVIs up or down or left and right. But remember, you have to be mindful that if you move them, that might change the grade of this first one, the grade of this. So you got to be careful. Or if you change the last one, right? I got a warning triangle here again. I'm just going to redraw the triangle, see if it helps. Sometimes it disappears. No, it's not. It's keeping there. So what I'm going to do, if you have a little green warning triangle, it's okay. Don't worry about that. It's as long as you're within the parameters here, you're good to go. And it looks like nothing's above or below 5, and it's 30, 35, 30, and all my numbers are correct. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my profile layout tools, and I'm going to save this as profile 3. Now, the only thing left to do for this module is to, if I zoom in where we have the rail, we got to actually draw in, physically draw in the rail around this area. Now, you have to make sure that your curve is correct before you start doing this, because these lines that you're going to draw in here are going to be static lines. And if you change your curve after that, those static lines won't change. You're going to have to redraw all of them. If I go back to the instructions, you're going to see here, this is basically what we're going to draw here. And the parameters, you can see the X at the bottom. You can see the little corridor there. See everything that's drawn. The sizing of everything is based off the diagram here at the end on the last page of the instructions. So you're going to have to use, remember that everything vertical is exaggerated by 10. Everything horizontal is not exaggerated at all. So I'm going to end this video here, and I will create a separate video as to just about the drawing of the supplementary data to this profile here. Thank you very much.